Okay, hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Sorry for the angle. My phone died on me and I have to record from my iPad. And this is the best I can do. It's late night, so just excuse the video, but hopefully the message will get across. So, today's video is single mothers, excuse me. You will not get married, okay? So I don't want to trigger anyone, you know, but I just want to tell the truth because me, myself, being a single mom of four, I realized that, I don't want to say that I was lied to, but I do want to say that the truth was withheld from me. And now here I am, living in the consequences of my actions, right? So, where do we start? I guess we would start with why I say that single mothers will not get married. And I don't mean for all single mothers, but there are a group of single mothers who will never get married. Well, not never, but you won't get married when you want to. Let's put it like that. So, and right now I'm talking to mothers like myself. I mean, single moms with two or more kids because when you just have one kid, you still have a chance of getting married, getting a man who will provide and who will help you raise your child, and you'll go on to, get married and you guys can have your kids of your own and have a life together, right? So mainly I'm talking to the moms who have two or more kids because, you know, a lot of women were mad with Kevin Samuels, but I'm not mad at him at all for judging me, for telling me what was wrong with me, for shedding a light on why I'm going to be single, you know, because the things that Kevin Samuels told to me were the things that my mother and my grandmother and my peers did not tell me. And, you hear of the saying that my people perish for a lack of knowledge, and it's the truth. Because it's not, I don't blame my mother or my grandmother or my family members for me turning out the way I did, right? Because they couldn't tell me what they didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So they can't pass down to me what they didn't know. They didn't know it. So I just thank God that I cared enough to figure out, what is this generational curse that is stuck on my family so I could try to break this curse, okay? And the curse is unmarried women, right? And so, I can't, I may not be the one to break the curse in my family, but I am going to instill in my children what did not get instilled in me. And that's how I plan on doing my part to break the generational curse of my family. So I have my notes here, so I'm just going to read, so the reason why single mothers of two or more children will not get married is this. Men see your children as a liability. They see your children as a bill. It does not matter if you have your own place. It does not matter if you have your own business. It does not matter if you have a job you've been on for 20 years. When you meet a man, he's going to see your children as a bill that he does not want to take on. And this is the truth. And this is what Kevin Samuels has been saying. This is what several men have been saying. I'm on different platforms, different social medias. All the men are saying the same thing. If all the men are saying the same thing, there has to be some type of validity to it. Okay? Now, I give single moms with one kid a fair chance, and men do too, because okay, you made one mistake. Okay, did you learn from that mistake? Okay, did you not go out and have another kid out of wedlock with another man that you're not going to be with? Men look at that. So single moms with one kid, there is hope for you. There's definitely hope for you. I can't necessarily give you advice or direct you because I have 4 children and I'm single. So I would say seek out, other moms of one who got married or other, and try to get help from them. Now, to the moms of multiple children who are single, I'm not saying that you cannot get married. I mean, anything can happen. But what I'm telling you right here is the reasons why you will not get married for a while, okay? Because, so, I just want to give you an example, right? So, once you have a child, right, it is your duty, it is your responsibility to take care of that child, I say, for the next 20 years. Even though they're grown at 18, you still have to teach them how to have a job, pay bills, be sufficient, or go to college, or whatever it is. So I say it takes 20 years to raise a child. So you got to figure, if you're a woman at 20, you make the mistake of having a child, outside of marriage. Because outside of marriage, there's no guarantee, the father's not responsible. He hasn't made made you a responsibility to marry you and take care of you and his kid for the next 20 years. So you're going to still be out there dating, whatever. So you say you have a kid at 20, and you're going to give yourself 20 years to raise that kid. That kid goes on his own, right? So 20, you're 20, your baby's 20. At 40, okay, so here you are, 40, your kid's grown and moved out. Men no longer, and if you are still in shape, you still have sex appeal and can reel in dates and men, right? I'm not saying sleep with men, I'm saying get dates, right? Your chances of getting married at 40 are still very high. With today's technology, you can still have a kid, or you might meet a divorcee, or you might meet a man, who's already had kids too, and his kids are grown too, and you guys meet at the same level, and you can go on to get married, right? So that's a good thing you can look at. If you're a mom of one, you always have that time to actually get married. Now, let's say you are. Let me say I had an example. So let's say you have 3 kids by the age of 25. So that means that your last kid that you just had at 25, right, is going to be 20 years until that kid grows up and can move out of your house. So that means that you are not going to be able to get married until you're 45, because you add 20 years to the last child that you have. So these are things that no one tells you, right? Like, people will say, oh, don't have a baby, you can't afford it. You can afford to have a baby. You're going to find a way to make things happen. Especially if you're an independent woman, you want to find a way to make it happen to take care of your kid if that's what you want to do. So threatening somebody with saying you can't afford a kid obviously doesn't work, because single moms are literally being created every day, right? And now this video, I'm kind of leaving the men out right now, because I got to talk to the women, because I'm not a man. I don't have a PP. I don't know what it is to be a man, or none of that stuff. I only know what it is to be a woman. If you watch any of my previous videos, you know that now, right? But see, I'm celibate. I've been celibate for more than a year now, right? So I can only speak to you on the things that I've been through, realistically, that I know and that I've learned, okay? So, and this is not to bash women. This is to tell y'all the truth, because this is the truth. If somebody would have told me at 21, when I had my first kid, okay, don't have any more children, get married so you can have help. Nobody told me that. Everybody just patted me on the back and let me go on and do what I wanted to do and be an independent single mom. Nobody told me the truth. So when I was 25, right? So in time into me being my first baby, 21, 25, instead of me trying to be married, settle down, and do the right thing, right? I was just doing what I wanted to do, being independent, raising my daughter. So at 25, I had another kid. Nobody, once again, said, hey, if you have this kid for the next 20 years, you're going to care for it. You won't be able to get married until you're 45, right? Because every kid you have, you're adding 20 years to your liabilities. Because even if you are cute, you're a cute single mom, it doesn't matter. When a guy dates you and sees you, all he's going to hear is about your 2 children that are a bill and a liability. Yes, he will sleep with you. Yes, he may even get you pregnant. He's not going to marry you. If he was going to marry you, he'd marry you before he slept with you. Men know. how it goes. Just like we know how it goes. But we as women, if we don't have older women or motherly women around us to tell us the truth, then we learn from trial and error. Hence now, I'm 39 with 4 kids and unmarried. Now, luckily, my baby's fathers, right? They take care of their kids. And so, I mean, of course I had to struggle, but as far as like, watching the kid or sending clothes or sending money or field trips or whatever, they've always been able to take care of their kid and do that. So, but, I know there's mothers out there who don't even know, never, probably slept with somebody, had a kid, and then they just never had help, So, in a lot of ways, I'm very thankful. Like, even with me, right? Myself. So, my last baby is 5 years old, and I'm 39, right? So, like I said, I'll be raising her for the next 15 years. So, realistically speaking, do I want to get married? Yes. Am I preparing myself to be a wife? Yes. Actually, I was just dating a guy, right? And we were like, kind of like engaged. We were talking about marriage and everything, right? And then he ended up leaving me, right? And so, but now I know why. Because he sees my children as a liability. So he did like me, he did have feelings for me. I give him that. But because I have 4 children, they will always be a liability, right? And so I get it. So I'm not mad at him for leaving me, right? Because I know why he had to do. I get it. I totally get it. He don't want to take on me and my 4 kids. I get that. But I did not get that at 21 when I had my first kid. I didn't understand that at 25 when I had my second kid. 28 when I had my third kid, right? And so on and so forth. Like, because once again, there was no YouTube video that I could go to and watch and be like, oh shit, that's where I'm messing up in life, right? There was no motherly figure to tell me where I messed up in life, right? Women get coddled. We get pats on the back instead of the truth told to us. And because the truth has not been told to us, now here we are, the byproducts of the truth being withheld. Literally, we are perishing due to lack of knowledge, right? So, in my situation, like I was telling you guys, my youngest is... Oh, I wanted to say this. So, but I don't have baby daddy drama. Like, all me and my baby daddies, for the most part, are cool friends. Like, even like my 5-year-old, like, with her dad, we were friends. We've been friends since I was like 21. So he was always my friend. So it never was like no drama or nothing. And he watches her, he gets her, does what he's supposed to do as a dad, what he can for her. And I appreciate him for that. So I'm not gonna bash my baby daddy. Like, we had sex, we had a baby. It is what it is. I know now that as a single mom, she goes to her dad's house, she comes here. So I know that, realistically speaking, I do want to get married. I'm preparing myself to get married. But statistically speaking, I will not get married until my baby is about 20, until she's out of my house and not a liability in the eyes of a man. So I'm 39 now. In 15 years, I will be 54. So as of now, I'm just planning that, okay, in my mid-50s, I can get married. And at that point, my needs for marriage are going to be different. It'll just be for companionship because, I'm pretty sure whatever guy I meet, either he won't have children, can't have children, or his kids will already be grown in college and going on too. So we'll kind of be on the same page. Like, there'll always be a dating market. Like, I'm sure there'll be some app for dating at 55 by the time I get there, right? So, I know that something will open up to where there's going to be someone for me to marry when my children are finally grown and out of the house. So that's my solace. I dedicate these years to my kids. You know what I'm saying? So, but this is all things that I learned once I started being celibate, right? Me being celibate took out a lot of things out of dating, right? So, like, I still have been dating. But see, I have been dating thinking that I would meet my soulmate, right? And that's a lie. Soulmates, it's a lie. I'm sorry. But it is. And that soulmate idealism is what's making a lot of single mothers. Stop believing in that fairy tales. That stuff is not true, okay? It's just not true. Um, I'll do a video on that, but it's not true. And it's messing up our ability to date and to date with a purpose, right? And to make families. Um, and so, I love my children. I don't have any regrets because I'm old enough to know that I did what I did based on information that I didn't have. Like, like it's funny to me how people say, it's just so funny to me when people say don't have kids, you can't afford it. No, that's not what I want to hear. Tell me don't have a kid out of wedlock because you're going to be alone for the next 20 years if you have this baby. That will keep a lot of women from having babies. If you really tell women the truth, that is what is going to keep them from becoming single mothers. I'm telling you, the truth is what is going to set people free. Like, for real. So, yeah. So once you choose to become a baby's mother, you put your children first. You really, really do. You have to because you have them now, and they're your liability. You can't expect some man to come along and take on your liability. And I get it. Like even me, I have my own business, own store, own house, own car, everything. So to me, looking at myself, I would say I'm not a liability to no man. But here's the thing: men get scared. They feel like once they get with you, that you're gonna stop doing what you're doing, and then they're gonna have to take care of everything. This is a fear that they have, right? And so, based on that fear, they're gonna date you, they're gonna have fun with you, they're gonna sleep with you, and they may even get you pregnant and get another baby in you. Unfortunately, I mean, it's a byproduct of having sex, right? But they're not going to marry you and take on that liability. They'll take on the liability of their kid if they're a responsible adult. But if they're not, even then, they'll just run off and then you'll be stuck with another baby that you have to take care of. So, at some point, women, you have to look at yourself and realize that you mismanaged your life. You can't keep pointing the finger at the guy and saying he ran off or he made you a single mom. You have to realize it's a choice that you made, you know. And as I watch the news, I keep hearing about all these moms who kill their children, right? And that's so disturbing to me because I'm like, why would you kill something that's so precious that came from you? That's your baby, right? But I'm seeing now that because the women don't want to take on the liability of the kid. Like, back in the day, it just used to be the mama ran off and left the baby with the grandma, right? But nowadays, these grandmas, they getting younger. They got their own lives. They're not taking care of all them kids. So, the mothers are, they doing all type of crazy, unnatural stuff to these kids. And these kids are perishing, right? And it's tragic to me. Instead of just realizing that you had that kid and it's not your responsibility, you're not going to be able to. Just like the one girl that was on the news, it was her birthday and she left her baby in the house for like 3 or 4 days and then went out to party and the baby died while she was gone. And it was just like, you had that baby. That was the choice that you made. You signed yourself up for the next 20 years to take care of that kid. How dare you be selfish like that? You could have just had an abortion. And I'm sorry, but I would rather someone have an abortion than beat their kid or kill their kid or make their kid live in misery. It's better for you to abort baby and just don't have them at all. Get on birth control. We have to start being realistic these days because the way things are going, it ain't working. And these are known facts. Literally right now, I was just sitting here thinking, right, and I was like, I can name 100 single mothers that I literally know, can call on the phone, talk to, conversate with, right, that I really know one-on-one. I can't even name 100 married couples. That's a heartbreaking statistic. It's like, I know 100 women who are single moms, divorcee, albeit some of them, but even few. There's more just single moms than even been married and divorced. And as far as people that I know, I was sitting here trying to think. I probably know about 6 married couples out of all the people I know. That I mean married, like been married more than 2 years. So the statistics are out there, and they're showing that single moms are is what society has become. And a lot of the women, they're getting frustrated. They're taking out on the children. They're taking out on each other. You see women killing each other now, pulling guns on each other, always fighting on social media. They're taking out their frustrations of having to raise these kids alone on the community and on the society. You see moms grabbing their babies and running the traffic, ready to kill themselves and their kids, because they breaking down, because it was never structured for the woman to take on everything on her own. She was supposed to have a man around her to protect her and to help her raise the youngins, but this is the way society is now. So I look at the generational curse of my grandmother not being married, my mother not being married, and me not being married, and all of us being single moms, right? And I say to myself, how can I break this generational curse? And at this point, the only thing I could do is tell my daughters and my son the information that I didn't get growing up. It is my responsibility. It is our responsibilities. If you're a woman, I'm 39, 4 kids. If you're a woman like myself, in the same boat as me, it's our responsibility to give our children the truth and the information so that they don't go ahead and make the same mistakes that we did. We have to lead by example. We have to teach our daughters, don't have kids out of wedlock. Don't have multiple kids out of wedlock. And if you do, you're going to be dedicating the next 20 years of your life to those children. You have to suck it up. You have to take care of them and do what you need to do. But I feel like we have to be real and have this conversation with our women, with our young girls, before they have the children, before they start getting sexually active. You can't just say, get on birth control. That's not going to stop them from having kids. That's not working. You have to sit them down and talk to them and let them know and show them. This is how you're going to end up if you don't manage your body correctly, if you don't manage yourself correctly. It's just, it is a generational thing, because it gets, information that you don't know still gets passed down to your children. Information that you don't know still gets passed on to your children. So it's better to take the time out to figure out what it is that you're doing, where it is that you messed up, and then actively put that information out there to save your children from going through the same things. Just telling them don't do it does not help. They need real live answers as to why things will not work out, right? Let me look at my notes. So, another thing is I want to tell y'all, right? So, let's say this. So, I was on social media the other day, and this lady had commented how she had been celibate for 20 years, right? And so, at first I kind of laughed, like, what? That's crazy. But then, me being on my celibacy journey of, a year and some change, realizing that my youngest is 5, so that means, realistically speaking, I'm going to go at least through 15 years of celibacy, because I don't want to risk having another kid and starting the clock all over, right? Because if I had another baby, we're not married, I'm just adding 20 more years of me being a mother, a single mom. And so at first it was so crazy to me to hear a lady say she went 20 years celibate, but now I understand, because if it's going to keep you from having another baby out of wedlock, or having a baby out of wedlock, then this is the best thing to do. Because birth control, even still, can fail you. I know someone who had a baby on failed birth control. She actually ended up getting a settlement because of the birth control failing, and she ended up having the kid. Um, so you know, life is about reflecting. I mean, I get it. Like, you're gonna have urges and everything. Like, so albeit, but my suggestion: don't have no kids outside of marriage. And even when marriage, of course, you get divorced, it fails, whatever. But yeah. But that another thing to that is because a lot of women don't prepare themselves for marriage before getting married. Nobody's telling them the realistic ins and outs of marriage, so they go in with these ideals that aren't real, and then it falls apart. So I figure since I have 15 years before I can be, my kids aren't a liability in my home anymore, right? I will just use the next 15 years to prepare myself to get married. Like I said, I figure in my 50s, I could hopefully meet a guy who's divorced, or who, there'll be some. There's always singles out there in every age group. So I'm not worried about meeting someone. Like, there'll be, even if it has to be an older guy, I know that someone will present themselves when the time is right, right? When I'm not seen as a woman with a whole bunch of liabilities behind me, right? So, and I say 15 years because it's like, so my child before my 5-year old is 12. So even if I put myself in a position of I have one kid left at home, right? So he's 12 now. So when he's 20, that's 8 years. I still would be 47. And then even my baby, she would be was 8. She'd be 13. So maybe then, okay, so at that in that essence, I would have one liability. So even okay, so let's just say, so let's give myself that. Let's give myself 8 years. My son will be out at 20. I plan him college gone. So I'll be 47. So even at 47, yes, I do believe there'll be, like I said, there'll be a market. There'll be a guy. There might be a divorcee. His kids are grown too. He may have one kid liability left, whatever. So I'm giving myself in between the next 8 to 15 years, right? So from now to 8 years, prepare myself to be a wife. Do I know how to be submissive? Can I cook? Can I clean? Can I cooperate? I will still actively date. I mean, I'm always dating. I always meet guys. I just know, realistically speaking, that they're not gonna want to see me as marriage material because I have 4 kids. So I get that. A lot of women in my situation, right, would be bitter, and then they be bitter dating, or they have a baby to trap a man, but which is crazy because if he ain't trying to marry you, what you trying to have a baby for, right? But once again, these are all mistakes that I've made too, and that I'm learning from too, right? So I give myself the next 8 years to prepare myself to get married. And it's funny because it's like reading the story of Ruth, right? Like, everybody, like, they waiting for their Boaz. But you gotta remember that Ruth gleaned in the field for years before Boaz became her husband. And she didn't even have no kids. So you don't know what your gleaning season is gonna be. Like me, realistically, I'm saying, okay, my gleaning season might be the next 8 years. I might have to spend the next 8 years preparing myself for my husband. But I'm okay with that. I'm looking at life more realistically now as an older woman, you know, and I want to help the younger women, like my daughter, she's 17. So I always, I use my situation and how I manage my life to show her, honey, do this, honey, do that. You want to end up like me, alone, and 4 kids, and just everything. Just being really like, I love my kids. Like, I love my kids so much. Like, we just recently took a trip to Disneyland. So I always try to do stuff for them, and it's all about them. And like I said, so the next 8 to 15 years, you know I have at least 8 years of dedication to I can be able to think about getting married and having a spouse, that will see me for who I am and not see my kids as a liability. You know what I mean? So that's okay for me. So I mean, so now looking back, reading that article about the or that social media comment about the lady that was celibate for 20 years, I kind of understand now, because looking at things the way it is, like, I probably won't get married for another 8 years, at least until I'm down to one kid left in the house. And so I can see myself, being celibate for 8 years. I can, for the next 8 years. I really can, because I don't want to make the mistake of getting pregnant and having another kid, right? I don't want to put that on me, because that's adding another 20 years of having to raise somebody, right? I'm just trying to finish what I already started. I gotta see the end of this, what I started, So I don't blame my mother or my grandmother for anything, because I ultimately was an adult when I had all my kids and made an adult decision, And like I said, it's knowledge that they didn't know, that they couldn't tell me. So, and they've made that mistakes too. It has become a generational thing. I just always knew that I was a black sheep of my family. And even if that means breaking generational curses, then that's what I want to do. And I've always been a knowledge seeker. So, like, Kevin Samuels was trending and everything with his passing. Like, luckily, I got into him before he passed, so I was able to really see his real time, how he dealt with people versus watching an old video. You know what I'm saying? And what he did was he shed the light. He told the truth. Single mothers of multiple children, you are a liability in the man in a man's eye. Yeah, there is. I mean, yeah, there. And another thing you have to think about too is also some men prey on single moms. So that's another thing too. So you don't want to be rushing into a relationship or rushing to marry somebody anyway, because you don't even know until you are sure what their intent of anyone. Have you done a background check? Have you met their family? Do you know how they were raised? There's so many different types of things that single moms have to be weary and leery of anyway. You shouldn't be rushing into a relationship. I mean, so will I still date? I mean, of course, I'm still date, because like, I'm always going to be trying to find. Well, not trying to find, but hoping that my husband will find me, I should say. You know what I'm saying? But like, but as far as like, I understand where men are coming from. I understand how they see a woman like me as a liability. So I don't get mad. So like now, like for like when breakups would happen, I would get so mad, right? Because I feel like I didn't have closure. But now I have my never ending closure. The truth is, I have a lot of children, even though they're older and they go to school and they do their own thing and they, do their own thing. A man is still going to see my children as a liability. And that's just the way it is. And it's not like it's just Kevin Samuels who was saying it. A lot of men saying it. They're all saying it. If you go on these social media groups, all men are saying the same thing. So there's definitely validity to it. So women, you can't get mad and bitter because a man don't want to take care of your kids. They are your kids that you chose to have out of wedlock. You can't blame them and get mad at them. You have to take accountability and responsibility for the decisions that you made. A lot of bickering between men and women is because women don't want to take responsibility for their part in it too. Yes, the men played a part in it too. But we can't sit here and keep blaming the men for things that we did. We have to take accountability for what we did. It's the only way the tide is going to change. You're a single mom like me. Realize that you will not be able to be single to get married until your last baby is 20. This is what you signed up for. You're stuck now. Okay? So deal with it. Live your life. The time will pass. I'm almost there, like I said. I got 8 more years. And I can be able to consider, someone being able to marry me. The time will pass and you will be okay. Okay? You've already given your youth to your children. Once you have those babies, that's your marriage. You married to your kids. Your youth is going to be gone now. Your youth is going to be spent raising them. That's the choice you made. Okay? And this is for, you know, adult women who are responsible, because there's a lot of women who run off from the kids, who try to take their kids out, all type of crazy stuff. I'm just talking about to the normal women. But I want you women not to be bitter in this season of being a single mom, because this is where we are now. I want you to use this time to just better yourself and prepare yourself and get to know yourself. You know, and I know it, I encourage women being celibate, because since I became celibate, I became a lot more smarter. I gained a lot more knowledge, right? And I'm able to pinpoint, you know, why my life has turned out the way it has. And I have gotten inner closure with my life and where I'm at. And I'm not bitter and I'm not mad. And that's a big thing, because a lot of single moms, they date, and when the guy leave or don't want to deal with no more, they get mad, not realizing, you know, and a lot of men, you know, they don't want to, you know, bash you. They just want to be able to leave and be free. So they don't tell you how your kids was a liability, and that's how they see you. You feel me? And so use this time to, you know, better yourself, better your kids, change your diet, you know, exercise, work out, you know, just try to be your best healthy self, you know, pursue your career, you know, pursue your education. Because at this point, if you a single mom with multiple kids, you didn't take yourself out of the getting married market. It's just, you just gotta be honest, you gotta be real. I feel like Disney and the fairy tale and these movies that we watch, they are fake. That stuff do not happen in real life. Watching this stuff thinking, oh, some man gonna come along and marry me and love me and my kids. Statistics are showing that's not gonna happen. If anybody in the comments could get in the comment and name 50 married people they know that have been married more than 5 years, please, I want you to get on here, because I want to interview you. It ain't gonna happen. But I bet you can name 50 single moms. So there is something going on. There is something wrong. There is disorder in our community, right? And I'm telling y'all, I'm pinpointing what it is. So you already messed up. It's okay. Just keep going from there. You could get me. The time will come for you to get married. If you got to get married at 50, it's okay. You're not. You still gonna get to have that. Don't feel like because you missed it at 25, you had kids at 30, it's over for you. It's not over for you. Just do your time, raise your kids, get them out, get them in college, get them independent, get them on their own. Your time will come too for you to be able. And that's why I think the story in the Bible about Sarah and her husband having a baby later in life, it's just to go to show you. And now if you look at Janet Jackson, just had a baby in her 50s. Women, even if you still want to, you get married and want to still have a baby in your 50s, it can be possible. You don't have to, anything is possible. You don't have to give up. You just have to be realistic and realize where you at this point in life, and where you're going to go from here on out, and have an active plan. Dating with purpose. It's okay to still date while you a single parent, but just know that realistically, the man, unless the man is talking about marriage, gets you a ring, gets out and proposes to you, and say he's going to take on your kids, which is very rare in today's day and age. You only dating for fun. You only dating for fun and for semi-companionship. You should not be sleeping with nobody who don't even want to marry you. Know your self-worth, okay? Because you're going to end up having another baby, end up another 20 years alone, because they're not going to want to take care of they baby that they created with you, plus your other kids that you got too. This is what the men are telling us. This is what Kevin Samuel's platform was to tell us. I know that women hated to be told that they were leftovers, but he could have used a better word than leftovers. But the truth of the matter is, that's what it is. Once you have multiple kids, your value is gone until those kids, at least until those kids are moving out of your house and you are older. You might as well hang it up. Just date for fun or for to have somebody to talk to. But don't get all wrapped up in your feelings, having sex, risk having another baby, and you starting your clock over. Because men have a different time frame and timeline from us. They can always start their life over, get married to a young person, and live their life. Women don't have it like that. That's not what our option is. So protect your womb, ladies. Stop having these multiple kids out of wedlock. Get this stuff back in order. And for the women who already have it done like myself and already mismanage your time, right? Instilling your kids not to make the same mistakes that you made, okay? So that was this video I wanted to do. I felt impressed upon my heart to put this video out because I feel like there's not a lot of videos out there like that. That's really telling women the real. That's saving women from making these mistakes that we have made, okay? So make sure to like and subscribe to my channel. I think I'm going to be doing more videos like this, talking to single moms, helping them get through this tough time, these tough years, because it can get a little bit lonely. These years, it's just going to be times of loneliness, and I want y'all to know that I'm here to help y'all. I'm here to guide y'all, you know, and we're going to just prepare ourselves for the time when we can be wives, you know, the time when our kids are grown, and, you know, when this is our season of gleaning right now. Okay, so we in a season of gleaning on this channel, and we gonna help each other learn in our season until we can be able to go into a season of being a bride. Okay, so I will talk to you later, YouTube. Bye.